I just walked in New York Fashion Week, and I also walked in Miami Swim Week back in July. Ever since I did these shows, even though I've been modeling for like 4 years, people now are starting to realize like, oh, Jared, you actually do this modeling shit like for real, for real. As of recently, because of these shows, I've been getting asked a lot more specific questions. So here are my 10 frequently asked questions about modeling. Make sure you guys stay until the end because the last 2 questions I'm gonna answer are definitely my most frequently asked questions, and they're about money. So who wouldn't want to know about that? There's no particular order for these, but they are kind of grouped together because they go hand in hand. You'll see what I'm talking about. I feel like this is a very common one, and it's, our model's dumb. I feel like models get a bad rep because I would say most models are actually very more well-rounded as people because they realize that they can't rely on modeling as a job, so they usually start their own business and they become entrepreneurs. What is unexpected with being a model, right? Like there's so many things that could happen. Like what is unexpected, something you didn't realize? With modeling, you actually become a independent contractor, so you get a 1099. And with that being said, so you becoming an independent contractor, you yourself, you have to start viewing yourself as a business. Like you get taxed the 15.3% every year on all the money you make. And I briefly touched on this before, that my first year of modeling, I thought I was like pocketing all of this money, and then tax season came around and they took all of it. That was unexpected in the sense of like all the money that you make, you gotta pay taxes on it, but with that you also get a bunch of tax write-offs basically on like everything you do. So you gotta know the game when it comes to that. But that was definitely the most unexpected thing. What can give you an advantage in modeling? The biggest advantage is if you are an athlete and you can play a specific sport. You don't even have to be like a crazy level athlete. They definitely look for college level athletes because when it comes to mechanics and movement, you can't look foolish doing these movements, especially for like sports photo shoots. I actually just submitted for a Timberland shoot, and they want people who are warehouse workers and they have experience working in a warehouse. You have a certain skill set or a specific trade that you can also add value and bring to the shoot, and you actually know how to perform these tasks, that'll give you an advantage. For me, mine is always sports, specifically basketball. Does social media matter? I would say yes and no. No, in the sense of you don't need a big social media following to get started. Me personally, I'm signed with 4 agencies and I just recently like passed over 1,500 followers. But to sit here and say it doesn't work in your favor would be a lie. It definitely does. Everything is social media and attention based. Specifically at Miami Swim Week, they were going around asking people how many followers they had on IG because they wanted people with more followers to like do like behind the scenes videos, because then obviously that gets shared to their followers, therefore bringing more exposure. Can you get started and can you get signed with a small following? Absolutely. But is it a massive advantage? Yes. Does body image matter? I feel like in today's world, the modeling industry is much more diverse, which is good when it comes to ethnicities and races, and you want to be able to relate to the general public, right? That's the whole point of modeling. So that's why I would say as of recently, you see much more like plus size models or like your average Joe looking model, because then the consumer can relate to that model. Absolutely, I get that 100% and I agree with it. But is there a certain level of, if you want to become like a high-end like fashion or runway model of some degree, you have to be what they're looking for and most likely physically attractive. And I feel like a lot of people nowadays kind of forget that the whole point of modeling is like you look good, right? Like, and as much as like that might sound like egotistical or like self-oriented, it's just the name of the industry. Does your agency control you? It can, but it also cannot. Because obviously at the end of the day, whatever you do is going to be your decision. Whether you might lose a contract or not, it's still because of the decision you made. So going based off the previous point, does body image matter? Someone actually told me this story, how like their hair needed to be a certain way. They had a campaign shoot and they wanted their hair to be like this for the whole entire campaign shoot, but then they actually ended up buzzing their hair and then they lost a contract. So did the individual have the right to do that? Of course, because they wanted to cut their hair. But do you lose the opportunity to have that campaign? Yeah. So it's not like they control you and it's like you're gonna go to fucking jail, but is it, you know, do they have some sort of say in what you do with your body? Yeah, like if I wanted to get tatted across my chest, my agency could say, well, if you do, we're gonna drop you. This is kind of a funny one because it's something that I've even thought about even before I got modeling, and I definitely feel like more guys have this question, is the industry sus? Y'all know what I mean, like, is it sus? No, it's not. But from the outside looking in, of course, it makes sense as to why people would think that, because you hear all these stories how like male models are like, oh, this designer wanted to sleep with this dude to get him to allow him to walk in the show. That has to be like such a small percentage of models that have to deal with that. It's like, come on, really? Like, that's a question you have? But hey, if multiple people asked it, then it's got to be a pretty common question. So there's the answer. What clothing or brands should you wear to get started? My go-to are always H&M and Zara. Specifically, why is because they're non-branded and they're slim fitting for my body. Anything that is non-branded is going to be a green light. As long as you style it a certain way and you have a vision of the look that you're trying to create, and then you and the photographer can come together and do that. Photo shoots, you only have branded like clothing when it's actually for that company and you're doing a campaign or a shoot for that company. Shoes, they don't matter, but like definitely your shirts and your pants, you want to keep them non-branded. So down to the money. Does modeling pay well? I've answered this before, and I feel like everyone knows the answer to this. Yes. Any modeling shoot is going to be significantly better than your average payday from a regular job that someone might be working. Unless you own your own business and you're racking in hundreds of dollars a day or even thousands of dollars a day, one shoot is gonna hold you down. Shoots can range from a few $100s a day to thousands of dollars a day. It's just a matter of what your agency can get you, what job it's for. Sky's the limit, because I've heard some stories about people getting paid bread. Leading into the next question, how do you get paid as a model? Long story short, your agency is just the middleman. So let's just say a company, you shoot for them and the pay is $1,000 for the day. They write a check to your agency, and then your agency will then, the standard, like the industry standard percentage is 20%. They take 20%, so they pocket $200 for getting you that job, and then you get the remaining $800. But here's the kicker. You don't know when that check's gonna come. Usually it'll come within 3 months, but that is why you cannot rely on modeling. And most models, like I said earlier, become entrepreneurs and they, explore a different career path, because you cannot sit around and wait 3 months for a modeling check and expect to live off of it, even if it's a nice payday. You gotta always have money coming in. So that's where freelancing jobs can also come in as well, that work in your favor, but that is how you get paid as a model. So I try to answer these questions quick and effectively. Hopefully these questions and answers were able to help you guys watching, because obviously if you're watching to this point, you're interested in what I had to say. So really, I do hope that it benefited you, and that if you want to become a model, do it. Trust me, go for it. You don't want to regret this, because it's one of the best decisions I've ever made for my life, and that's really why I'm here and what I'm doing now. I got my own video ideas, but at the end of the day, I make these videos for you guys, the viewers, and what you guys want to see. So if y'all could leave a comment and let me know, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you made it to this point, please leave me a like. Thank you guys again for passing over 200 subs. I know it's been slow but steady. Follow me on the socials. That is where I post the majority of my modeling content, fitness content, day-to-day life content. So make sure you guys follow along with me. And if you're from YouTube, send me a message and let me know that you're from YouTube. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, until the next time, thank y'all so much for watching your boy, and I'll catch y'all later.